The host of the Phenomenal Future podcast. This is the Phenomenal Future project. I talk about all kinds of wonderful things around blockchain, NFTs, smart contracts, mostly for artists out there. And I have talked a bit about musicians, and I've talked a bit about fine artists, but I also want to, not shy away from some of the other art that's out there. Today I'd like to talk about fiction in particular. So, I mean, this is related to nonfiction as well, but I think there are so many possibilities in the world of fiction. So, novels can be very long. Of course, many people write novels in a series, especially in the genre forms of crime or fantasy or science fiction. So there's an opportunity to build a fan base and have them participate for a very long time. A perfect example would be something like Harry Potter or the Jack Reacher novels. Anything that, the Alex Cross stuff that James Patterson has written, right? These things have lasted years and years and years and made a lot of fans extremely happy. And those fans, especially if we look at something like the Harry Potter world, it's truly a world, right? She came up with, J.K. Rowling came up with not just stories, but had to come up with this whole wizarding world and a whole parallel universe, essentially in our real world, even though it was set in modern times. And so there are opportunities in there for all kinds of experiences, not just the books, but then she made movies, and they, I believe, have a Potter World amusement park or something like that as well. You know, rides. Of course, there's all the merchandising that comes with that. Costumes. I mean, you name it, right? There are so many different ancillary ways to make money off of the same intellectual property. And this is just another extension of what's possible when we're talking about NFTs and the digital world, especially if we're looking at the future, the metaverse, a real immersive virtual experience that's coming along, and also augmented reality in our real world, being able to wear glasses, see our, what's really out there, but kind of have an overlay of things as well. So there's so much coming here and super exciting. But, as I always say, for blockchain and NFTs, we are right at the beginning, the early adoption phase. We've just made it past, we might be in the chasm right now as far as NFTs. Last year, they were just riding high and things were just up and up and up, number go up, as they say in the blockchain space. But things kind of have dipped down a lot. And I think that's because the promise of what NFTs have to offer, a lot of people realize that there are a lot of challenges and it's going to take a lot of work to really create a beautiful, robust, full suite of possibilities when it comes to this technology. But that's great. That's exciting. That means for those of you artists who try to get into this early, you can be forgiven by not putting out, the most immersive experience. But if you're just kind of pushing the envelope a little bit here and there and giving your fans a little bit of a taste of something different each time, that incremental change is still going to be embraced massively, and there won't be that much competition right now. 10 years from now, totally different story. There probably will be a lot of supply. And right now, demand is pretty high for those techies out there who also are really interested in supporting the arts. And there are a lot of them. Last year alone, I believe the trading for NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain was something like, I may be wrong, we can look this up later, but it was at least $17 billion. I mean, it's a lot of money, right? So if you get a little slice of that, it's totally worth it. Now, there are, I kind of want to cover some marketplaces that are out there that are specifically focused on books. So the experience for both the fans, the readers, and of course, to help the authors out as well. And they too are very much in their infancy. So I'll just name a few. There's one called Publica. There's another one called Odiggo, Odiggo, and a third one called Creatokia. Creatokia, and then one that is even more new, BookCoin.com. Now, as far as names go, Publica, that kind of is more memorable. The other ones I don't know about. I mean, BookCoin.com, of course, really is pretty clear. So I'll just cover a little bit about what each one of these does. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on BookCoin, but yeah, that's our big thrust for this live stream here. I just want to talk about what's available to authors and readers currently. Now, Publica, they say, let's see, they allow content creators to tokenize books, literary content, and digital art for crowdfunding and publishing purposes. Publica's buyers can actually access the content using Publica's proprietary e-reader app coupled with the crypto wallet. So that's something unique that they offer that I haven't seen at any of these other companies. Owners, so the people who buy the book NFT, can resell their collectibles using Publica's secondary market or simply transferring the ownership rights to somebody else. And that's about it. They talk about some other things that they want to get into, but so far they haven't actually pushed those things out. So pretty simple. Odiggo, it's a growing platform for books and book communities. Now, one thing that's in common with a lot of these were the kind of copy that they have on the marketing copy that they have on their website. All sounds very similar. Everyone's talking about what their goals are and what's possible in very general terms. But when it comes to nuts and bolts, everybody's still working on the technology. So we hear something very similar from Odiggo that, the Odiggo's growing platform, it empowers writers and simplifies publishing for authors by utilizing blockchain and Web3 technologies. You can't get more general than that. Built around the essence of community and fan-based engagement around books, it offers substantial benefits for the readers. I don't know what those benefits are necessarily. Let's see. The readers can collect limited edition NFT books that are autographed by their favorite authors, and they can join communities of people sharing similar values and creating meaningful connections with their favorite authors. So it sounds like limited edition versions of the books with some signatures and maybe a Discord channel. Okay, so they make this stuff sound really, fantastic, actually. But when it comes down to giving those experiences, I don't think everybody has this quite solved yet. But like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I think that's okay because we're here at the cusp of this, and people are very forgiving. The ones who are buying these NFTs, they're going out of their way and have to do some sometimes very complicated things to hook a wallet up to one of these platforms where they can purchase these NFTs, and they're also willing to deal with a little bit clunky experience when it comes to interacting with the community. So maybe some of these are using, like I said, Discord. They possibly could be using Telegram. Hopefully some of these are going to leverage some of the Web3 and blockchain enabled social media platforms, but so far I haven't really seen that quite yet. Hopefully that's coming soon. That third one I mentioned, Creatokia, they say pretty much the same type of stuff. One thing though, that they are actually from Germany, so yay, we have stuff being built worldwide for a worldwide audience, so that's fantastic. They are currently a digital book publisher that's now getting into the NFT game. So just like most publishers, they're curating their own content, their own NFTs, just like they curate their authors, right? Not everybody can just go and post an NFT on their system or a series. They have to be invited, okay? So they are very much like a gatekeeper, like a traditional publisher. It says that they're soon opening up to author submission, but that's very similar to just the general submission that you would do if you were an author and wanting to have a publisher actually publish your work. So I think because they are a little bit, they've been around for a while and they're in the legacy publishing system, they probably don't quite have the same view that a lot of people in the blockchain world have, that we're trying to get rid of gatekeepers, and lots of this is supposed to be transparent and there's more power to the people and all of that. They talk about buying, selling, and trading NFT books. I think it'll be interesting to see what their royalty split with authors is going to be. So right now, if you're doing simple art, PFP, proof for picture type of NFTs, and you see that on OpenSea marketplace, if people are buying and selling on a resale market on the OpenSea marketplace, I believe they get like a 2.5% cut of each sale. You know, in the traditional author world, publishers, when we're talking about actually print books, often will get 85% of the sale, and the authors get 15% of the, not the list price, but the actual sales price. So you can see how the traditional publishing world believes that they're actually doing all the work and the author doesn't really deserve much. I'm hoping that this Creatokia is not being quite so greedy when it comes to you know, siphoning off a lot of the money that I think is due the people who are actually creating the work, the one that put in that endless hours of writing and rewriting. One thing too, digital publishing is a little bit different. If they're creating ebooks, the authors do often get to keep a little bit more, but it may be like 30% instead of, you know, again, 97.5 is essentially what I think they should be getting. So it's worth looking into. You know, if you're an author and you're trying to do a bit of research on these, Publica, Odiggo, and Creatokia, I would say definitely figure out and compare what the actual marketplace cut or the in this case publisher's cut would be. Now the last one I have here, and it's not the last one out there, but it's the last one that I've been looking at here, is BookCoin.com. I think I like what they're doing a little bit different. So the other three were just mentioning, you know, taking a book, the whole book, and creating NFTs out of it. BookCoin.com breaks that down into a few different types of bins, which I think is more exciting. They say authors have their choice of how they like to tokenize their titles, including, but not limited to, I don't want you, Siri, go away. Not limited to creating tokens for entire books, so similar to the others. NFTs or tokens for chapters, for individual quotes, for characters, for sections of the book, tokens that are inspired by art, so derivatives of the stories. And this is interesting too. None of these are actually talking about the complexities, interesting complexities of how NFTs could be created for this type of work. So let's just throw out one scenario where I'm a buyer. Okay, I buy an NFT based on a character in this author's book. Okay, maybe there's an extra short story that comes along with it that's signed by the author, that is unique for me, for that specific character, and that is the NFT. But it could also give me a license to write derivative works about this character. Okay, we've seen a little bit of that kind of fan fiction offshoot in the world of Twilight, and I think there are a few other authors out there that are definitely, yes, I know this for sure. I'm trying to remember who, maybe J.A. Conrath might be doing this with one of his story worlds, but it's essentially allowing other people to dabble in their world and write derivative works. So that could be really, really cool. You could do the same thing for a book. If it's a one-of-one NFT for a specific book, I could tie the licensing rights to that to write derivative books, but not to make a derivative movie. That could be a different NFT where I'm licensing the movie making rights or the TV adaptation rights. So you can split up all of the possible things that can be done with the actual work that's created, or with what they call derivative works that would be created after the fact, that are related to that intellectual property. So there are so many ways to slice this type of stuff up. And maybe it's just a share too. Maybe the author, of course, wants to hold on to, 75% of the of the movie royalty rights, and the owner of the NFT would have a 25% or something of those licensing rights. So if it got sold and made into a movie and that kind of stuff, they would share in those rewards. That's something that's possible down the line, and that certainly would increase the value, the perceived value of that NFT right from the start. It's not just the words on the page. It's not just this individual story. It's not just a signed copy, but there is a potentially very large upside to be sharing in that. And this is one way for authors to, and any artist as well too, but this is a very specific case because so many times books are made into movies or used in many different ways, in many different media, that this helps an author kind of front load potentially making money, and having more upfront at the beginning of their career, as opposed to waiting and hope that things take off, like a John Grisham or something like that, where obviously he's had 10 of his books turned into films, and he's probably made much more money off the films than he has the original books. But that may take a long time and it may never happen. So it's kind of a hedge your bets choice here, where authors can start creating NFTs off of their licensing rights. Now, one thing that is a little bit confusing, and I will cover this in another live stream, when you buy an NFT, you don't actually get the copyright for the NFT. It's very difficult to transfer copyright, actually. What you end up doing is defining, like I said, licensing rights. That's a bit more simple to do, but it's also going to be hard to do after the fact if you want to try to do that for a book that you've created an NFT series for, and if the smart contracts are not written all that well and they don't take in all of these potentials into account, you may be giving away as an author, as an artist, you may be giving away way too many rights if that language is not written very well. So that's an area where we definitely need a bit more maturity, both in the people who are making NFTs and writing code to understand the legal aspects, but we also don't have a lot of precedent in how the law is very written based on physical items, real copies of things. And so even though we've had digital products around for a while when it comes to movies and music and ebooks and things like that, there really is a lot of gray area when it comes to the law. So I throw that out there. We will cover, like I said, more about copyright and more about kind of the arcane aspects of law and where these things are going later. I will probably also try to find some experts and interview them for the Phenomenal Future podcast. So be on the lookout for those different topics. Now I'd like to get back to bookcoin.com here. Let's see. They're building what they call a meta library. It's a new way to experience books. The meta library is the largest community of book lovers in Web3 and a central home for book NFT collectors to read, earn, and socialize around books. In some ways, this is similar to what the other guys are saying. I think they're just doing a better job of their copy. They say they have private communities and book clubs. They have a Web3 reader as well, so I don't think it's not hooked to an app. It's actually actually Web3 native, which is interesting. They have what they call reading incentives and exclusive author access. So I think what they're doing is they're filling out a little bit more about what these community experiences are like, and also really embracing Web3 and blockchain when it comes to that kind of interaction with either the authors or the fans interacting with each other. Now, they currently don't have a marketplace yet. I'm going to show you their website here in a second, but they're expecting in Q2 2022, which is almost over, by the way, as I record this. Let's see, first of its kind NFT marketplace for books. It will be home to the top curated authors. They too will be curating authors. They won't just allow everybody to post whatever the heck they want. Curated authors tokenizing their books and communities. More than just a marketplace, our platform will include incentives, gamification, and features unique to the literary industry. Also very vague. I'm sorry, I wish I had more details for you, but this is the state of NFTs right now, and especially around books. I think the music space is just a little bit ahead, but not that much. Okay. Now this is cool. They actually are creating what they call the BookCoin token, and that's going to be at the end of the year 2022. Let's see, it will incentivize collecting and trading, as well as allow token holders to earn additional value and perks on the titles they own. And this is interesting. I think I read also in a different location about them that those tokens will give them voting rights for how the community will shift and change over time. So in some sense, the BookCoin token holders, they're kind of buying into the governance of the endeavor here of the BookCoin marketplace, and that's very much DAO-like. A DAO, DAO, is a decentralized autonomous organization. So it seems like they're embracing a little bit of that as well. They want to figure out a way to really have people be able to have their voice heard, and I guess laying down a little bit of cryptocurrency at the beginning to get some of the BookCoin will be a way for people to say, yeah, I really want to be involved with this, and I'd like to help navigate how this might look in the future. So that's pretty cool. I will show what that interface looks like a little bit here. So here we are at BookCoin, Books Meet Blockchain. They have a very simple interface right now. Their featured drops, you can actually buy into their meta library right now, and if I click on that, you'll get a sense of, it's a little bit slow, I apologize for that. You know, the cards have images associated with them. Hopefully they pop up here soon, but it looks like 350 out of 777 have been purchased already, so there still are some available if people want to participate as a meta library founder. They call it a conglomerate of innovative projects, partnerships, and Web3 applications to empower authors to tokenize their written creative work and readers to experience a new level of ownership, access, incentivization, entertainment, and identification with the books that have changed their lives. And I think this is where I read about voting rights and things like that. Okay, here we go. We have some of the images of what these cards look like. So they look like little credit cards almost, or membership cards. That's the idea here. Now I'm going to go back and look at, they have one author who is a New York Times bestseller. So they, I believe they're the first marketplace, though they don't actually have a marketplace built yet, available. But we'll just call them that because that's where they're headed here. The first one to actually get an author who's sold a lot of books already and is really well known. So that's a good coup for them. So yeah, it's Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Yep, I just said that word, but why not? I don't know how to say an asterisk out loud, so you're just going to have to live with it. What I'm going to do here, though, is click on, okay, so he's got 1,111 of those, and right now, you can only buy them on OpenSea. So, one of the things that you get when you buy one of his NFTs associated with the book, you get an unreleased chapter, a chapter that he says he loved, but working with the publisher, it was decided to leave that chapter out of the book, so that becomes available. And you will have access to it in BookCoin's private reading environment. You join the Zero Fucks Club, and that I guess the author is going to be rather active in this group. Obviously, these are super fans who are buying these NFTs, and so he wants to give them an experience. Maybe he's going to do Q&As. Maybe he's going to give life advice that's related to the book. Who knows, right? What's going to happen? The Subtle Art School. So this is another perk that you get with purchasing his NFT. So these are the kinds of things that are possible for authors to do, and I think this is really worth, you know, not just looking at what someone has done and try to copy that, but think about what's behind what he's trying to do, and with these experiences, and it's like understanding basic or first principles of what's going on, the why, not the how necessarily. So if you can figure out the why that he's chosen to do some things, you might be able to think of 10 other hows, 10 other ways to scratch that itch that is that why. So this is hopefully a springboard for you authors out there to really start dreaming what's possible. So the Subtle Art School, anyone who participates in the initial book offering will be eligible for a free 6-month membership to my new online school full of courses about cutting out the bullshit so you can find the struggles that matter. Obviously, he's saying life is a struggle, so, or problems. We always have problems, so why not choose big problems that actually are worth a life? So cool. You get access to his online courses in school, and then BookCoin utility and tokens. He said he's chosen to partner with BookCoin on this project because of the long-term utility they're going to offer to holders. So he really believes this is going somewhere, that they must have amassed a quality team that he wants to get behind. Yeah. And, oh, this is interesting. So people who looks like buy his NFTs are going to get the upcoming token airdrop. So an airdrop is is when a project either drops NFTs. The term drop is basically give NFTs to people who are already NFT holders, or in this case, I believe the drop that's going to happen is when these BookCoin currency, the BookCoin that they're creating, a cryptocurrency, is released, they're going to be giving for free people who have already participated in BookCoin projects, whether it's the meta, now I don't even remember what it was called, but the Here, let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. The meta library. That's right. People who have participated in either the meta library or Mark Manson's book here and bought NFTs, they're going to get coins dropped into the same wallet that they use to purchase these NFTs. So they're automatically going to get some of that governance access. And it's quite possible that those book coins will go up in value compared to, whatever normal currency that you have, US dollars, euros, etc., over time, right? If this platform does really well, you may actually make a little bit of money on that drop too. So pretty cool. Yep, there's all kinds of lovely information on here. I suggest that you check out this website. One last thing here, they do list their team, which is pretty cool. So the founder, he also had founded, I'm guessing it's a he, founder of the Advocate Labs, helping authors and publishers sell and repurpose books since 2011. And then you've got all kinds of tech people on here from a variety of cryptocurrency and blockchain endeavors, some marketers that have been at it for a long time. So it looks like a really solid team. And this is actually really cool. If we look at the advisors, it would be like in a big company would be a board of directors, but in this case, in Web3, they don't quite have boards of directors and C Corps and all that kind of stuff. So here's a big one, Neil Strauss over here. He's the author of The Game. They made a movie out of that, early 2000s, something like that, with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn. He's a 10-time New York Times bestseller, and yeah, he's also a degen. So somebody who's more my age or even older is jumping into the blockchain game, and I love that. Someone who really understands the book industry and also sees the power of what BookCoin is up to. So to me, that means a really big deal. Of course, Mark Manson is also one of the advisors, and he's got his book up there, which I just showed you. And a number of other people who are either monstrous investors and have made a lot of money in the cryptocurrency space and really understand the technology. Here's a guy, product development, and a guy you call when stuck, NFT advisor with V NFT, probably Gary V's stuff, which is rather huge. Atari, Warner Brothers, and now BookCoin. So you can see they've got a really solid team. And to me, when we're looking at anything that's new, any company or any endeavor or project that's new out there, especially in the blockchain space, because it's Wild West, looking at the advisory team to really see, is this going to be a good marketplace for me? Are they going to be around for the long haul? Do they believe in their vision, or are they just trying to make some money really fast? And it's a whole bunch of young bucks, that are 21 and don't know what the hell they're doing. And in this case, I think this looks like a really solid team, and their vision looks really great, I'd say. So, I'm an author as well. I've published one novel and written 4. I have a number of them that I never went out and tried to get published, and but I'm very proud of. And I'm looking at this for myself to see, who would I like to partner with? Where would I like to submit my work, and see if, if they'd be a good place for me to really start engaging and growing that kind of audience. So super excited about what's possible here. That's what I wanted to share today. Like I said, we're going to be getting into copyright law, which is just going to be boring as hell, but I think necessary for us to cover. We're going to get into probably more design of NFTs, really thinking through gamification and thinking through all of these possibilities of how to make create amazing experiences for your fans, so they can get really immersed in the worlds that you're creating. And whether that's you as an author or you as a musician, you're creating stories as well with your music, and the outfits you wear and the music videos you create and the experiences you have on tour and in a variety of other capacities. You know, you think of that as your own mini universe, right? That you have the possibility of creating a world, a brand, essentially, around what it is that you're up to. And this really opens up possibilities for you too, because you could have a character in your movie, in your music. You know, you could be writing from a certain point of view. There's a character, or maybe there are two characters. Maybe it's a relationship that you're writing about, and you could come up with NFTs and write stories that are associated with them, little, 500-word stories. You could, come up with drawings with these characters. Who knows, right? The possibilities are endless, and it allows you to collaborate with other types of artists because, maybe as an author, you don't know how to draw, or as a musician, you don't know how to draw. Well, there are plenty of people out there that you can collaborate with, and that too gets to be really exciting. Because they think about new possibilities and you think about new possibilities, and doing your work in a vacuum all alone can be really lonely. So NFTs are really exploding what I think artists can do and cross-pollinate into different genres. This is just a beautiful time to be alive. I think that's it for today. I'm Jason Brenizer. All of you who have watched this, please leave a comment below wherever you happen to be watching this live stream or the recording after the fact. I read the comments. I want to find out what's working, what's not, what you would like me to cover in more detail. Any other topics that you think you would like to learn about, I'm willing to go out there, find the people to interview on the podcast, or do deep dives and do research. That is not something I'm afraid of. I'm happy to do it so that you don't have to. This is the Phenomenal Future Project. And man, I think we're all on the cusp of having a phenomenal future of creation and making a lot of money, which is going to be fantastic. Well, until next time, I will say adios from